Hello all. Hopefully you can hear us. We're just going to wait a couple of minutes just to allow the remaining participants to join. And we'll just give it another 30 seconds or so and we'll kick off. All right. Yeah, let's just get started. So first off, thank you everyone for joining us for today's webinar to introduce the SMB1001 security standard and how this framework will simplify security for SMBs. So as always, we appreciate your time and participation in today's session. But before we begin, just need to inform everyone that today's webinar is being recorded. Although all microphone and video input has been disabled, any messages in the chat will be included as part of the recording. Anytime if you feel you have any questions during the presentation, please feel free to leave them in the chat window and we'll answer these during today's session and as part of the Q&A at the end of the presentation. Now, while there's a lot of familiar names, a quick introduction. My name is Alex. I'm Head of Professional Services. And we also have Cameron here, who's the Solution Architect here at Intra. And we'll both be guiding you through today's presentation. So starting off, just wanted to chat about what cybersecurity challenges do SMBs actually face. So with SMBs being the backbone of the Australian economy, representing 97% of all businesses, remarkably, 97% of these businesses have fewer than 20 employees. SMBs operate in a different environment compared to the larger enterprise, often juggling competing priorities with limited resources. Small businesses with 5 to 19 employees and medium-sized businesses with 20 to 199 employees require tailored advice to better protect themselves from cyber threats. Although effective and affordable cybersecurity practices are available, many SMBs are actually unaware of them. Now, in 2023, the Australian Cybersecurity Centre, ACSC, released an Australian cybersecurity small business survey. Now, this actually highlighted that Australian SMBs recognise the importance of cybersecurity, regardless of their understanding level. However, they face significant barriers to implementing good practices, such as a lack of dedicated IT security staff, challenges in understanding and implementing security measures, underestimating the risks and consequences of cyber incidences, and obviously a gap in planning for and responding to cyber threats. Now, despite the average reported loss from a cybercrime incident for small businesses being nearly $46,000 in 2023, it's actually reported that SMBs typically spend less than $500 annually on cybersecurity. This obviously brings us to the next point. What challenges do SMBs face with common security frameworks? Let's explore how existing frameworks may fall short in addressing the unique needs of SMBs. So the next thing for discussion, so what challenges do SMBs face with common security frameworks and standards? So first off, what exactly is a cybersecurity framework or standard? So a cybersecurity framework or standard is a set of guidelines, best practices, and security controls designed to help organizations protect their information systems and data from cyber threats. These frameworks provide a structured approach to managing cybersecurity risks by defining processes, policies, and technologies that can be implemented to improve security posture. There are substantial cybersecurity frameworks and certifications available, such as the ACSC Essential 8, ISO 27001, and CIS. However, all can be difficult and impractical for SMBs to implement due to the associated costs and complexity, especially if the SMB is beginning their cybersecurity journey. Some security frameworks require hundreds of security controls and are designed for larger organizations with ample resources or cybersecurity budgets. An example of this is ISO 27001, which can cost tens of thousands of dollars, which is obviously outside of the budget of many SMBs. Now, if you weren't aware, we've held our ISO 27001 certification for several years now. So we know and understand the effort and the expense required to implement it and to obviously keep that up to date. One of the most well-known in Australia is the ACSC Essential 8. This provides valuable guidance for enhancing cybersecurity. However, it can be hard for SMBs to understand, adopt, and it also lacks any governance such as cybersecurity policies, plans, or procedures. Cameron and I have implemented this for many customers. We find it's very heavy with technical controls that is offered. However, an ideal SMB cybersecurity uplift solution should be one, easy to implement. It should align with Australians' Essential 8. It should support progressive maturity levels. Incorporate SMB specific risk management. Of course, it needs to be cost effective. It should require director involvement, for an example, an attestation. Needs to stay updated with the latest threats as the cybersecurity landscape is always changing. And to cap it all off, provide a certification so the SMBs can demonstrate their cyber maturity. So let's talk about SMB1001, which we believe is a solution for many SMBs. I'll actually hand this over to Cameron as well now, and he'll actually run you through the detailed specifics of SMB1001.
Yep. Thanks, Alex. So what is the SMB 1001? The SMB 1001 is a 5-tiered cybersecurity standard. It was developed by the Cybersecurity Certification Australia, Pty Limited, also known as the CSAU. And it's been designed specifically to meet the unique requirements of Australian SMBs. And the drive behind it was really the CSAU recognising as Alex has said, the common limitations or challenges for SMBs when implementing common cybersecurity frameworks and standards. So the standard was first published in September of 2023. So it is quite new, and we do find not many people really know about it, which is why we wanted to host this webinar today, just get some more awareness out there. So what do we think that is so great about SMB 1001? That it's affordable compared to a lot of other cybersecurity frameworks, and that it allows SMBs to demonstrate their cybersecurity maturity to customers, partners, and cybersecurity companies, insurance companies, and that has been traditionally quite challenging. So each of the 5 tiers of the SMB 1001, so bronze, silver, gold, platinum, and diamond, adds progressively more comprehensive requirements, which really just provides a clear pathway for improving cybersecurity maturity within your business. And what we do love also about the SMB 1001 is that these requirements are just really easy to understand for anyone within the organisation and just make a lot of sense. Coming back to the ACSC Essential 8, we typically go through these with directors of companies and business owners, and they're just so technical. They typically put them to sleep. We find the SMB 1001 isn't like that. It's just really easy to understand. So the 5 tiers also serve as a solid foundation and pathway for SMBs aiming to adopt more advanced cybersecurity standards or frameworks like ISO 27001. As the saying goes, no one goes straight to black belt. No one, I guess, but us goes straight to ISO 27001 just because it is so hard to implement. So this just gives you a really good tiered approach to get there. So by implementing SMB1001, you are essentially aligning with multiple global frameworks simultaneously. And it's really like killing two birds with one stone. However, it is important to note that the SMB1001 isn't intended as a replacement for other frameworks. It really complements them and is meant as like a pathway. So after this webinar, we're going to provide everyone with a document that basically maps the controls of the SMB1001 to the ACC Essential 8, just so you can see the alignment between the two frameworks or standards. Also, if anyone here is familiar with the controls of the AC Essential 8, you would know that it really does focus on technical controls, as Alex said, and I think this is what I like most about the SMB1001. It also includes the development of policies and procedures, which are really just as important as the technical controls for a business. Also, the alignment of your business with a cybersecurity framework or standard such as the SMB1001 basically is evidence that your business is operating with due care and due diligence on part of the senior management. So I'm not sure if you're aware, but government bodies such as ASIC, so the Australian Securities and Investments Commission, will and have taken action against directors of businesses that have suffered cybersecurity attacks, that have failed to adopt adequate measures on the basis that they have not exercised due care or due diligence. So by obtaining, SMB1001 certification, it just proves that you are taking cybersecurity seriously if something was to happen. Now, the SMB1001 is updated annually by an industry steering committee, and that's just to ensure that it stays relevant for SMBs and just keeps pace with the forever evolving cybersecurity threats that are out there. And just on that, the 2005 standard was literally released last week. And yeah, for comparison's sake, other frameworks like the ISO 27001 are only updated once every 5 to 6 years. And this is what the CSC AU really believes sets them apart from those frameworks. Finally, the Cybersecurity Certification Australia has partnered with an organisation called CyberCert, which we'll look at soon, and they serve as the conformity assessment body or CAB body, and they're essentially just the certification issuer for the SMB1001. So they will issue you the certificate once you've met the requirements. So the SMB1001 five tiers, are built around 5 areas of focus, which cover the people, process, and technology aspects of an organisation. So the areas of focus are, technology management, so just ensuring that your organisation securely manages technology throughout its life cycle, including timely patching, updates, and security testing. Next is access management, which is making sure that only authorised access to your organisation systems is in place, including the use of multi-factor authentication and other security practices. Next is backup and recovery, so just ensuring that your organisation can operate during the downtime or a cyber security incident, and they can actually recover data. Policies and procedures, so just ensuring that the organisation has policies and plans in place, which are communicated to employees and relevant stakeholders. This includes ensuring that an approach to managing third-party risk is within the organisation, as an example. And then finally, education and training. So just ensuring that the organisation has training in place to prepare and support your employees when faced with cybersecurity incidents. So again, just makes sense. As we've said, each of these areas are developed considering the common elements in existing cybersecurity guidelines and recommendations, such as the ISO 27001 and the Essential 8. So again, if you're familiar with any of the controls or requirements of those cybersecurity standards or frameworks, As we look at the different levels of the SMB1001, you'll probably see some similar requirements. So as we've said, the SMB1001 consists of 5 certification levels, which are issued by CyberCert. So the 5 levels are bronze, silver, gold, platinum, and diamond. And each level builds upon the previous one. So as an example, achieving the gold certification means you've already met all of the silver and bronze requirements. As I've said, as you move up the levels, the complexity and maturity of your cybersecurity practices increase incrementally. And this just makes it really easy for businesses, I guess, to gradually embed those cybersecurity practices, into the organisation, and just gives you time to adopt to the changes that are required. So in addition, you can attest to any level. You don't need to complete all the levels in sequence. If your business is aiming for gold or has all the requirements needed for level 3 or gold, you can go straight to level 3. You don't have to get bronze, silver, and then gold. So yeah, it just makes it really easy. It's really flexible. Now for levels 1 to 3, so bronze to gold, a director can self-attest that you've met all the requirements for those certifications. However, level 4 and 5, they do require an external audit just to verify that you are meeting the requirements of level 4 and 5. So as I've said, all certifications are valid for 12 months, as they do update the certification annually. And that's just to make sure that it stays relevant. So the certification fees compared to other standards are really affordable, and the fees range from $99 for bronze, $395 for gold, and $5,995 for diamond. Now, diamond is quite expensive, but remember that does include the external audit. So when selecting a tier, you really just want to make sure that you choose one that matches your needs. As an example, I would love for all organisations in Australia to be level 5 or diamond. It wouldn't make sense, as an example, for a mechanic to implement a digital trust program with their suppliers, which would be a requirement of level 5. It just wouldn't make sense. That would probably fit around the bronze or silver level. What's great about these certifications, like I've said, is they can be used for cyber insurance, tenders, or even included on your email signatures, just to show partners and customers that you are serious about cybersecurity. And we have actually heard that multiple cyber insurance companies or insurance companies are about to release some products which are based on your SMB1001 certification level. So I'm sure a lot of you have gone through the process of getting cybersecurity insurance and have received that 10-page document that you need to fill out. But looking at getting rid of that, and really all you need to provide is your your certification, and then they'll base the premiums on your level, which is quite cool, and just makes the process a whole lot easier. So we'll have a quick look at the requirements of each level, starting with level 1. So as I've said, level 1 is really targeted at organisations with a limited cybersecurity hygiene and just starting out on the cybersecurity journey and just need the basics in place. These types of organisations typically have a very limited amount of resources, and just making it really essential to focus on the foundational security measures. And I would assume most of the businesses here, I hope, would likely meet the requirements for level 1. And as I've said, you don't need to get an external audit for level 1. You just need a director to self-attest that you are putting in the required requirements in place. Also, unlike the higher levels we're about to look at, there's no formal policies or procedures or anything that needs to be in place. So it's very easy to achieve. So the requirements of level 1, as an example, is engaging a technical support specialist, and this is more around just having someone that is qualified to actually put these security practices in place. Making sure you have a firewall, making sure you have antivirus, making sure your staff routinely changing passwords, and just having a backup and recovery strategy in place. It's really really standard basic stuff. I think all businesses should have as a minimum. Level 2. So level 2 builds upon level 1 and includes 8 additional requirements. So as I've said, to get to level 2 or 3 or 4, you need the previous levels requirements, but you can go straight to any level. So level 2 is more around formalizing cybersecurity practices for your business. So the focus is on implementing initial cybersecurity policies that are both achievable and essential for organizations that are still getting familiar with cybersecurity practices but want to go beyond level 1. And a director can self-attest to this level. So the requirements for level 2, and as an example, is just making sure you have a confidentiality agreement for all employees, having a visitor register for your business, implementing a policy with procedures to prevent invoice fraud, making sure you have an SSL certificate on your websites, and ensuring employees have individual user accounts. So already, if anyone's familiar with Essential 8, there's no requirement to make sure you have a visitor register. There's no policies that need to be in place to prevent invoice fraud. But these are big problems for SMBs especially, and it just makes sense to implement. Level 3, gold. So again, this builds upon the requirements of level 1 and 2. It has 8 additional requirements, which are designed for organizations that already have a solid foundation in cybersecurity and are ready to take the practices further, I guess. So the focus of level 3 it really shifts to a holistic cyber risk management approach that integrates people, processes, and technology, not just the technology-focused defenses. And now this is the last level that can be self-attested, where you basically just need to get a director to sign off that you have put the requirements in place. Now, the requirements of level 3 is conducting cybersecurity awareness training for employees, ensuring that all servers are updated and patched, implementing a password manager system, and making sure that MFA is on all business applications and social media accounts. In addition, there's a whole lot of extra policies and procedures, as part of Gold. And that's, implementing a cybersecurity policy, making sure you have a response plan in place for cyber-related incidents, making sure you have secure methods of physical document destruction, and, implementing and maintaining a digital asset register. So again, just stuff that really, really makes sense, and anyone can understand this. Level 4, platinum. So this is the first level that will require a yearly external audit, just to make sure that you are meeting all of the requirements. And as I've said, that external audit is included in this yearly certification fee. So level 4 is more suited towards, I guess, high-performing businesses that have a really mature cybersecurity, practices in place. And they're really making sure that they're putting the best practice cyber risk management in place. Like I said, level 4 builds upon the requirements of level 1 to 3 and only includes 6 additional requirements, which really just aim to refine the existing measures, add new ones such as implementing MFA, a backup and recovery strategy, and making sure that you have business cybersecurity insurance, cyber insurance. So these are the requirements of level 4. So, ensuring that all public internet-facing resources are regularly scanned for vulnerabilities, making sure MFA is enabled across the board, so, VPN, RDP, and making sure that you have, that backup and recovery strategy. So, in the event of a disaster, you can recover your data, and just making sure you purchase and maintain, business insurance. The final level, Diamond. This is the top level certification and is really targeted at organizations that have the highest level of cybersecurity maturity across all 5 core cybersecurity pillars. So level 5 includes all of the requirements across the 5 levels and builds on the strong advanced risk management practices and best practice technical controls in level 4 and has 7 additional controls compared to the last level. Like level 4, level 5 obviously requires a yearly external audit of all the required requirements, and again is included in that yearly certification fee. Now, if you do find yourself reaching level 5, you'd probably seriously now consider looking at also adopting ISO 27001, just because of everything that you've implemented, you're getting quite close to that level. So it might make sense. The requirements of level 5, is ensuring that you implement a digital, ensuring that important digital data is encrypted at rest. So, if, as an example, a laptop or a server was taken, or someone was to, get to your hypervisor, they can't actually access that data that is stored within that device or that server. Implementing application control, making sure that Office macros are disabled. Regularly conducting penetration, vulnerability, or social engineering testing. Making sure you have a digital trust program with your suppliers. Conducting police vetting on employees with administrative privileges or controlled access, and just conducting training to test your incident response plan. So again, just stuff that makes sense and is really easy to understand. And I think everyone gets why these are important. Especially when you're going through it with the directors and management. So after this webinar, we'll send everyone a list of all the controls. But yeah, like I said, we just think what we really love about this the standard is just so easy to understand. And I'll keep saying it, but just compared to the other frameworks, it's just such a game changer for SMBs. You can also view, like I said, we'll send out the requirements, but you can actually also go to the CyberCert website, which is cybercert.ai, to view the full list of requirements and the certification pricing. I'll pass you back on to Alex. Thank you.
Thanks, Cameron. All right, just finishing up with a few things. So why does the SMB1001 make sense for SMBs? So how does it make sense? As Cameron mentioned, SMBs can easily implement the framework. It's very easy to follow. Certification process is very simple, and is really achievable for a lot of small businesses out there. IT providers like ourselves can easily support and deliver this framework for SMB customers. It's a solution that aligns with Australia's Essential 8 framework. So as Cameron mentioned, a lot of the technical controls that come part of the ACSC Essential 8 is obviously included in this as well. It's a solution comprising of multiple levels to enable progressive maturity uplift. So for organizations, you can start at bronze and then incrementally make your way up to diamond and platinum as your cyber security policies mature. It's a solution that incorporates essential risk management activities appropriate for SMBs. So you see like the incident report testing and different things like that come part of diamond. Cameron mentioned, probably repeating a lot of this, but this is obviously a solution that can be used for certifications so that SMBs can articulate their cyber maturity. We see that a lot of tenders, even specifically, probably more specifically, the SA government are sort of cracking down a lot more on cyber maturity as well. So, the more certifications and maturity that you have around your cyber posture, potentially the better off you are going to be winning a potential deal. It's obviously very affordable for SMBs, as we've mentioned. It requires director involvement as part of the self-attestations and obviously the sign-offs. And it is obviously always updated to include the latest cyber security threats, as we know they're always changing. So how do we get started? So number one, obviously, when selecting a tier, it's important to choose that or choose one that actually matches your organization's specific needs and current level of cybersecurity hygiene required. So each tier is designed to suit different types of organizations. For levels 1 to 3, certifications can be self-attested or verified by a director. For levels 4 to 5, director attestation and external verifications are required. Step 2, begin implementing the requirements. So us as a partner into Intra can help you with a gap analysis of your existing environment, and with our technical controls and development of policies, processes and plans, we can help you on the implementation journey for achieving the certification process. Step 3, obviously, once all the implementation, when the implementation's been completed, you got all the policies, procedures, and plans in place. You can undertake the certification process, whether that's self-taken for bronze, silver, and gold, or through the external auditing process for platinum and diamond. So Cameron mentioned all certifications are valid for 12 months. With SMB1001 updated annually to ensure it remains relevant for the SMB market. And obviously, all the fees we'll send through as part of like a post care pack after this webinar. So, as a partner, we're here to assist you throughout this journey. We're pleased to announce that Intra are CyberCert partners and can support you as part of the cybersecurity certification process around SMB1001. So to help you get started, we're actually offering free certification gap assessments to determine which level you would like immediately certify to, and identify what would be required to reach the requirements of your target cybersecurity maturity level. So we'll provide some more information after this webinar, but feel free to reach out to Cameron and I if you're wanting like a free, just a complimentary gap assessment to see where you currently sit. But during this process, we can help you determine which target level makes most sense for your business. That could be from bronze, silver, gold, platinum, or diamond. In addition, to show our support, we're able to actually fund a few select partners who wish to undertake either bronze, silver, or gold certification level free, the certification level fees for the first year. So the first few partners are actually able to part with you and help fund that cost as well. But look, being in the industry for some time now, Cameron and I have spent a lot of time implementing cyber controls for partners, and we were very pleased when the SMB1001 framework was announced due to the blend of the technical controls from the ACSC Essential 8 and the administrative controls from ISO 27001. So whether you're a business looking at implementing ISO 27001 in the future, now would be a great time to start the SMB1001 journey to begin maturing your cybersecurity policies and frameworks to prepare for the more intensive information security requirements that come with ISO 27001. So in saying that, we just want to thank everyone for joining today's session. We appreciate you carving out time in your day just to join us to learn about SMB1001. We have a few upcoming webinars, one on the 26th of September. So that's going to be stipulated or focused around securing your data within Microsoft 365. And we'll have a bit more of a cybersecurity focused webinar in November as well. So thanks everyone again. Please hang around if you have any Q&As, any questions you'd like to answer as part of the webinar. Otherwise, feel free to reach out to us at any stage and we can get started on this journey.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Thomas. Thanks, Brad. Yeah, definitely, Amber. And we can talk to you about some of the cyber insurance companies that have announced recently that they will just require the certification. Thanks, Amber.
Good to or not see you, but we'll catch up again soon. All done. Thanks, Cam. I'll chat after.
Yeah, cool. All right.